All right, welcome back to The Point Guardian, episode 17. I'm Marcus, the managing editor.
I'm Miguel, database editor.
I'm Alex. You don't need any other information about me.
And I'm Richard, the associate sports editor.
It is Friday, was it May 11th?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
In between Conference semifinals and conference finals, Dwayne Casey just got fired this morning.
Poor man.
Poor guy.
There's a lot happening. It's kind of nice that we have this podcast right now because it's like a break. There's like a 3 to 4 day break, and then next week it just kind of picks up. Yeah, there's no basketball on TV, and then next Tuesday is the draft lottery, and then the conference finals start on Sunday, right?
Yes, sir.
So, Warriors against Rockets and Cavs against Celtics. It's kind of weird
No one
because
predicted that.
Yeah, this entire season was just like us kind of like
I saw the Celtics going pretty far. Just saying.
everybody did.
You saw them pretty far with Kyrie and Gordon Hayward, okay?
I thought that they would make it pretty far in the playoffs. I knew that they would beat. Would they beat?
Exactly.
Okay.
No.
Can I just say how much we're just fucking prophets? Like last week with just confidence, we were like, oh yeah, the Jazz are definitely gonna beat the Rockets.
I hate this.
No.
I hate myself. Like
No,
the day,
we
like the
don't
night
know.
before. But so when I was saying this, I just didn't realize that Ricky Rubio would be injured the entire series. I do think not saying Utah would have won easily or anything like that, but I do think it would have gone at least 6 games, even possibly 7 if Rubio was there. Just because it's then you end up with Dante Exum playing point guard, and that's just not gonna work.
Mm-hmm.
So
the Australian national team.
I mean, that kind of tells you a lot. So we have the 2 conference finals we were kind of expecting, but it's just kind of weird because it's not really how we expected to get there, right? We expected the Celtics to be a juggernaut throughout the season. Obviously they had injuries, but it was a legitimate claim that they'd be the 1 seed in the East, coming into the season, and they end up being the 2 seed regardless of all the injuries, and then kind of cruise through the playoffs again with literally. I don't even know. They have some players that just kind of don't make sense.
Terry Rozier.
And they don't really have a backup point guard. It's a weird team construction now just because of all the injuries. It's not their fault, but they have 2 point guards. Shane Larkin is also injured.
Marcus Smart.
Is he a point guard? I think he's a shooting
He's their
guard.
point guard.
Is he an
He's
actual
a
NBA
right
player?
He's playing point guard right now, but he's a
He's their
shooting
backup
guard.
combo guard, Marcus
No,
Smart.
what was interesting? Actually, let's get into the East first, and then we'll let Miguel rant for 20 minutes at the end of the podcast. It's his time to shine. It's I feel this entire time was just us being the Warriors, we don't really care about them in the sense that they're gonna get to that point. Now it's really the time where games actually start mattering for the Warriors. It's everybody expected them to that's the test, right? Once we all agree that once a West team gets to the finals, they're winning the title, right? It has to be either Houston or the Warriors win the title.
I mean, with our track record, I don't know about that.
Let's jinx everything.
LeBron.
But that's what seems like. Okay. Anyways, so let's start with the East. So what was interesting is that they don't really have a backup point guard, but they have the entire series against the Sixers. They had Al Horford taking the ball and putting it taking it upfield, taking it on the court the first 10 seconds of the possession, and they get into their system, and that kind of negates the need for a point guard.
True.
And I feel it was a
The Sixers never pressured that?
No, they had T.J. McConnell on Terry Rozier the entire time. They just had They're not gonna have Joel Embiid falling.
If you try to stop that, you're getting wrecked.
It was just a matchup. I do think it was the matchup with the Sixers just because Joel Embiid guarding Al Horford and being a mismatch in favor of Al Horford.
Kevin Love's not guarding Horford.
Could they have swapped?
So that's the thing. Let's
sorry.
Yeah, go ahead.
Could they have swapped Ben Simmons to guard that?
I don't know.
Yeah, but they have Ben Simmons guarding the point guard.
Mm-hmm.
It was just strange.
But if he's on Horford and pressuring him up the court, that's not going to allow him to just leisurely take it up the court.
Yeah, but
obviously.
where do you put Embiid?
Yeah.
When you swap, because they're swapping anyway, right?
Yeah,
Horford,
but then you have
Brown, Tatum, Rozier, and Marcus Smart.
The problem
Or
is that
Marcus
when you go
Morris.
small, then you have Embiid on a smaller player. That's
Yeah.
just a mismatch because then it's like Tatum or Brown or a guy like that. Even,
But you
even
take
Morris.
Horford out of the thing, who is their best player right now.
Terry Rozier is a
Well,
fucking baller.
he destroyed that.
I feel like
series.
I feel like they would have adapted to it.
He's stupid good. Celtics are just they're like one of the best teams in the league right now, even with all
Well,
their injuries.
Oh, without
obviously
doubt.
they're in the conference finals.
yeah, yeah.
So let's look at the matchups that they have with the Warriors.
Cavs.
With the Cavs.
No, let's skip.
Let's skip the
yeah,
Cavs.
let's
Let's
skip
talk about the Warriors.
No, let's not skip the East. Let's not skip
No,
the
so
East.
Cavs, Celtics.
Straight to the finals, right?
Yeah.
So you have Jalen Brown on LeBron James,
You have like half the roster of the Celtics is gonna have to guard
Marcus
LeBron.
Morris.
So I feel like you have Morris, you even have Smart, you have Jalen Brown, Jason Tatum, even Al Horford could potentially guard him on a short.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like the advantages and I'm really sad that I'm saying this, is that Aaron Baines can probably guard Kevin Love on the
Easy.
outside. He's
Easy.
like mobile enough that he can actually do this. It's not like the best matchup, but
Yeah.
if you do want to stick like Al Horford on
LeBron.
you can do that.
Yep.
The one thing that a lot of people were saying is that in the first round they put Semi Ojeleye on
Ojeleye.
Giannis a lot,
That guy's strong.
and that might be like a matchup they would go to. So Semi Ojeleye didn't really like play in the second round because that's just not how like the series was working. But that might be like a player they get like contribution from off the bench. But then it's also really interesting to see how the rotation, the Cavs are basically playing with 6 players. They're playing George Hill, Korver, like all the old guys, right?
Yeah.
J.R. Smith, Korver, Tristan Thompson, Kevin Love, LeBron, and George Hill is the only like really like contributing player of the
bench.
newly no,
Come on.
not Jose.
Jose.
So I don't know. It's I don't know. What do you think of that?
Yeah, Alex.
Where
what
does
do you
this
think?
go? What the matchups look like? I'm still hoping that the Celtics will make it, but
They will.
it's always the same thing. Betting against LeBron, it's a crap shot.
Celtics in
At-
He's
7.
at
going
this-
to put up. It's not going to be a sweep either way.
No, it's not a sweep.
No,
Without a doubt, there's
no.
not
The
a sweep
Celtics
here.
are not Toronto.
Celtics in
Let's be
7.
real.
I
I feel like the Celtics really believe that they can win this.
They can.
And
Yes, they
Toronto
can.
never did, and that's just the way it is.
I mean, at this
I
point,
guess that's what got Dwayne Casey fired.
Yeah.
But yeah.
like we always say, like, I guess don't bet against LeBron, but at this point, do we want to bet against Brad Stevens? I mean, he's working like, I honestly think he's working miracles over there.
Don't bet against the boy wonder.
I mean, he's definitely pulling he's just pulling everything he can out of his players right now, and
He's
that's
always
just
done that,
amazing
though.
for that. Yeah, he's always done it, but this season it's even more so just because they didn't have he didn't have the Isaiah Thomas, he didn't have the Kyrie
That's
to
true.
hold out to leave it hero ball style.
Hero Rozier.
Now it's just the entire team is just stacking together to do this.
That's
And
true.
What if they swept the Cavs? Is that possible?
LeBron's not going to let it happen.
Yeah.
If it happens, LeBron is in no conversation for the
For
GOAT.
GOAT. Yeah.
I mean,
Unless,
he's still somehow in the conversation right now
yeah.
with
But
5 losses.
not
but-
even that. Just like the idea that LeBron is always going to take a game.
Yeah.
Like just him by himself, he's like,
Yeah.
he's arguably the only player in the league that can just be like, give me a crappy team and I'll get you one game.
KD.
Yeah, I'd still.
Kawhi.
The thing is, I do think that like the level to which LeBron does everything on the team allows him to basically like combat. Like KD can go off for like 55 points if he wanted,
True.
but he might not, like contribute in all other areas like LeBron would.
As much, yeah.
So just in that like hypothetical. So I do think that they get at least one game.
4-2 Celtics.
That
I mean, it ends in Celtics or
So
it ends in Boston. So
it really depends on what happens in the first 2 games, right?
True.
Like, so if the Cavs steal a game in Boston because Boston has the home field advantage, home court advantage, then it's like a totally different series.
True.
Because I do feel like if Boston gets the 2 first games, regardless of how the Cavs play, then they can really put the pressure on
True.
all these players that are like older or inconsistent or
True.
And the thing that was interesting is that you were looking at the last game 5, the Celtics Sixers game, and you had a few players that just didn't have a good game. Like Marcus Smart had his original like let me mess up here and then save my ass on the next play a bunch of times.
Clutch.
And then Marcus Morris shot 1 of 10 or something like that from the field. And so it's not like they were perfect in that past round, and they still won 4-1. And that's the thing where it's just like at some point you just think that we've almost been underestimating them, because we just look at all the injuries and the lacking offense at some point, and then you realize that they still have the best defense in the league. They have the most versatile players overall as a group, right, in the league. And now they're actually getting contributions from Brown and Tatum that are consistent. Not saying they weren't necessarily consistent during the season, but you get those Tatum has 20 plus in 8 straight games, and then Brown just came back from injury, had 25 or 27 the last game, and you're just
it's not one player carrying, it's this entire
and
team
then Horford
concept.
is obviously doing his part, but the thing is
flinching from free throws.
Yeah, I'm just always worried about those players just because they're 20 years old, and you just kind of think they can have a bad game, and if that game comes at home, then that's bad, because if the Cavs take a 3-1 advantage, steal one at the TD Garden and then take the 2 at home and take a 3-1 advantage, I think it's done.
Well, right now the Cavs, they only have the 2-man game between
Kevin Love and LeBron.
Yeah, or Kevin Love and
also
Korver.
Yeah.
And then LeBron, get your buckets.
Yeah, they have 3 players.
That's their thing. So I'm very sure that for some set in this, the Celtics are going to lock them down. At least the 2-man game. You can't lock down LeBron for the entire time.
I don't think they should.
No team
either.
can.
They might not want to.
Yeah, just let him score his 50 and not get 10 assists. That might be their win.
I wouldn't
condition.
care if LeBron had 40 and 4 assists. If he starts getting 40 and 11
15.
assists, that's scary. Just because a bunch of those assists are going to go for threes, just because that's how the Cavs system works.
Yeah.
The thing that was interesting is that a lot of people were saying that LeBron and Kevin Love and and Korver are the 3 main pieces of that offense. Basically, you have streaky J.R. Smith shooting sometimes, and then Tristan Thompson and George Hill are not really contributors. Just
Tristan Thompson will get an offensive rebound and then get Chris by Kardashians.
You can live with that. You can live with that. But the interesting part is, obviously, the Cavaliers have a horrible defense, and that has not been exposed because, for some reason, the Raptors are just we have the best bench in the league and are not using it in the playoffs, and just. Anyways, did a bunch of stupid things in their series with the Cavs. But I think the interesting matchup is how the Boston offense in their system that really uses plays like Brown and Tatum almost going one-on-one from time to time to save their asses. And they've been really good against the Sixers at least. And who do the Cavs match up with them? Because then on the floor, you have LeBron, obviously, that can be either passive or active on defense, and I'm assuming it's the conference finals, he'll be active. But then you have J.R. Smith and Kyle Korver guarding wings, and I feel like that's actually a problem. Korver is, just slightly below average defensive player, but if you have Tatum going one-on-one on him, he's gonna get cooked every time. Yeah. And even Brown is probably 2-3 inches taller than J.R. Smith. So I don't know how the matchups work, obviously, but if they do switches and stuff like that, suddenly you have mismatches.
This might be the first series in a long time that's focused on defense over offense. We used to think,
it feels like the old East again. Yeah.
Playoffs are always who can lock down on defense. Nowadays, it's still who can play enough defense to stop or to offset the opponent's offense. This is going to be a complete defensive series here. Maybe that's just Boston playing. But with the Cavs not having an offense, they have to be forced to lock down on defense as well here.
Cavs don't have
and
offense or a defense, yet they're somehow in the Eastern Conference Finals.
They have the LeBron system.
They do have offense. I feel like they do have offense to a certain point that no other team has. Just because, like, okay, so I feel like the dependence that they have on LeBron is like comparable to what the Rockets have on like Harden, right? Like, you can't say the same thing like of the Warriors. Like, obviously the Warriors have like a comparable player in like Durant or even Steph, but they don't depend on them as much as those two teams do on their stars. And that's I mean, that's always been the system. What?
They depend on Steph to open up the court.
No, of course, but they don't like their system doesn't tell Steph to take the ball for 18 seconds and go one-on-one. That's like a result of the Houston plays. Yeah, that's what I mean. But
yeah, there's like a bunch of like different styles here. There's actually both conference finals are this team ball versus hero ball. Hero ball, Houston and Cavs.
Yeah.
And then team ball, Celtics and Warriors.
We all know hero ball loses. Because when you have hero ball in team ball, that's better than just hero ball.
Yeah.
See.
I mean, hero ball right now is just...
Don't doubt.
So I'm just
looking... For some reason, that's why everyone hated the Spurs way back when. I don't understand, but okay.
The team ball, beautiful.
So just looking at the series, I'm just looking at the Sixers and the Celtics, and the Celtics only held the Sixers below 100 points one time in the 5 games. Mm-hmm. But they scored 117, 108.
But where are their shooting percentages?
101. That's the only game that they won was an overtime game that finished 101-98. So they scored 117, 108, 101, 92. That's the game they lost. Sorry. And the last game was 114. So even though I do agree that like it's going to be like how the Cavs fare on defense versus what is arguably the best defense in the league, like on both sides of the ball, right?
Over the season, they were the best defense in the league.
Yeah, but even like once it comes down to the thing is like once it comes down to the playoff and you're playing with 7 players, they have like the 7 most versatile like defensive players in the league, basically. Like all these guys can play defense. Warriors.
I want to argue Warriors there. Whenever you mention versatility, I want to say the Warriors are just as versatile. Sean Livingston, Andre Iguodala.
Livingston sucks. Livingston's so bad.
Fuck the Warriors.
That guy's like Livingston's signature move is a foul on a 3-point shooter.
Wow.
It's that mid-range pull-up. You can't stop that.
No, what do you mean? He doesn't even have it anymore, man. It's so bad. Trust.
He's hitting his shots.
Watching him is like watching Carmelo.
It's not that bad.
No, it's not that bad. I'm exaggerating. Sean Livingston, if you ever hear this, I love you. But
yep, Sean Livingston, our biggest fan.
But like
fan of the program.
No, but Livingston is okay. Livingston's upside is like no. It's like it's pretty low now.
He's just old.
30 with
no, but he's just not like. If you watch like he just doesn't make smart decisions.
He's there to play defense and not turn the ball over, and he hasn't been turning the ball over.
He fouls jump shooters all the time. Right, I feel like there's a pretty consistent theme whenever I watch it, like Warriors games. I feel like Livingston is fouling a jump shooter. Livingston is having a whole like Livingston.
I'm more scared of Swaggy doing that.
Okay, well I mean if we want to talk about 2-time champion Sean Livingston versus Uncle Swaggy P, then you're kind of just making it easier for your point to be made.
Okay, but.
There's no one else though.
Who is he fouling? This last series he wasn't fouling a lot.
No, okay. Look, all I know is
Brandon Ingram is the best small forward in the NBA.
No, he might be balling out right now, but all I know is every time I watch Sean Livingston, he's fouling a jump shooter.
What the hell?
Their conversation is so.
No.
Alex is trying to be relevant by talking about the Lakers.
Okay, let's actually go to this then.
Let's
go to like the other teams that got eliminated. What do they have to do? Or let's go to like the teams. Do you want to?
I'll give you 5 minutes to talk about the Warriors, and then we can move on.
I mean,
I'm good.
Are you good? I was talking to Miguel, but okay. It's gonna be the longest 5 minutes of my life.
I think we match up well with these Rockets. Andre Iguodala has shown that he can lock down Harden before, but that was in his only Harden hero ball system. With CP3, Clay has to do a bit more.
Just a little bit more.
Just a little bit more.
Did they play each
still
other
think,
in the playoffs last year?
No, because Harden died against the Spurs.
Yeah, they lost to the Spurs.
Gotcha.
But Harden has been shut down by Andre and Draymond so far, and I think now that the team is actually locked in for most of the games, the defense will just stop this Houston team. I don't think I think I'll give them 5 or 6, but they're not winning this.
5 or 6. Wow.
5 or 6, giving some.
You're very confident.
Yeah, this is. I personally think it's going to be a gentleman's sweep, but they do have home court, so maybe 6.
I don't even.
No arguments to defend the Rockets here.
I mean,
this is going to be CP's first conference final.
I'm still taking the Rockets because I have to stick by my guns. I'm still taking the Rockets to go to the finals.
That's just because you don't want to see another Warriors team going to the finals.
Well, that too, but that's also because I just said the Rockets would make the finals at the beginning of the playoffs.
Okay.
I do think the entire thinking of this season was Toronto is arming up to defend LeBron, and the Rockets are arming up to beat the Warriors, right? That was the entire thing. So obviously it did not work out for Toronto at all. But I do think that the way...
So are you making this a sweep? Or
no, that's not what I mean.
Are you predicting a sweep in my favor
That's
here?
not what I mean. But I do think that the way the Rockets roster is shaped up, obviously they have more help than last year. And even though Steph came back and torched the Pelicans, at least what was it, game 2, he was okay the rest of the series, and I'm sure he's still not 100%, which is obviously not his fault because he's coming back from injury.
He's getting his feet back, but he's looking better and better as time goes on.
Yeah. He's gonna get better, but he's still not 100%. And I do think that I don't know.
I think he'll have enough legs under him by the time the series starts that injury is not going to be something to think about.
I'm not saying he's gonna get re-injured or anything like that.
No. I'm it's not going to be hampering his game. I don't think.
Okay. Well, that's to be seen. Obviously, we don't know.
So what would it take for a Rockets victory?
A catastrophic injury.
No, I disagree.
The Warriors have been locked in lately. They're actually playing top 5 defense. They're actually, Steph's back.
The Rockets also blew out Utah, which was arguably the scariest team coming into the playoffs.
True. But you're asking for a shootout with the Warriors?
I think they can handle it.
I think the Warriors' defense, when locked in, is just as good as Utah's, but their offense is on a different level.
True. I also think that Houston's 3-point shooting, although it can be off, if they have it on for 4 games, they can win those 4 games. Because we're only talking about winning 4 games, right? It's not I think they can outshoot
that's
them.
a series, but I think Clay and Draymond will be able to.
Man, I don't trust
it's not going to leave their
entire Draymond no more.
Draymond's been scoring to a decent extent lately.
Oh my god.
He averaged a triple-double last series.
Can I just point out the fact that you were excited about a 30% 3-point Curry shooter, and it just makes me mad because every time people are like, "Oh well, Draymond is scoring now," and I'm just yeah, look at his splits. The guy's shooting 45% from the field and 31% from 3 or whatever. And I'm just
because everyone was writing him off going into the playoffs.
No, I don't think he's a bad player, but I do think that except for obviously even Curry, KD, and all these guys, but except for that big 3, and you have Draymond on top of that, all these other guys are aging, regardless of if you think that they're still in their prime or not. Iguodala is 33.
Iguodala's
Livingston
definitely
is on the wrong side of 30.
And Iguodala's definitely getting older. I could see that, but his defense hasn't let up when he locks down, which is what we need him for. Not turning the ball over in defense. Maybe if he hits an open 3 every once in a while, I'll scream at the top of my lungs. But his role there isn't to score 30 a game. It's to score
No, of
10
course.
off of dunks, layups, and an open jumper every once in a while, and get the ball where it needs to be.
My worry for the Warriors going into like their second unit, like once, let's say 2 of their big 4 is not on the field, is that like some of these players become a liability because of either bad shooting or streaky shooting. And again, like the same point can be made about Houston. I'm not saying like Houston is like this juggernaut that nobody can beat, but you do have the feeling that the way they stagger minutes, you always have like obviously you always either have Chris Paul or James Harden on the field, and most of the players, even like the good defensive players on that team, can like shoot the ball from 3. If they're off, they're off, and that's just it. There's no like defending that. I do think the one matchup that's really interesting to see is how the Warriors are going to deal with Clint Capella.
Capella? Looney's been playing insane defense against Anthony Davis.
That's the guy that you put on, for sure.
Not thinking... If he can put up a decent defense against Anthony Davis, I don't think that Clint Capella is going to destroy us down low.
But
he's going to get his offensive rebounds. He's going to get
player,
his thing.
Though. Like, they don't run the offense through Clint Capella like the Pelicans have to with Davis.
Which makes it easier, I think.
I don't necessarily think so.
Like, that leaves Draymond and Looney to box out Capella and play for a lob, right?
Yeah.
Looney's shown that he can move his feet when switching and contest a jumper. I mean,
was he handling Anthony Davis by himself, or like was he getting a bunch of help? Like, is he going to get that same help against Clint?
So it's either Draymond on Clint or Draymond or on Ariza. Either way, Draymond's going to be helping on that lob. So make PJ Tucker and it. I think what this game is making PJ Tucker and Trevor Ariza beat us, and I'll take those odds.
And Eric Gordon.
And Eric Gordon, yeah.
To a certain point, I'm not.
But I still think if Eric Gordon is in, Clay is going to have an easier time.
Yeah, but you still need Clay to be like defending on him and Harden and whatever, Chris Paul on switches and stuff like that. So I mean I'm still going with Houston. I'm not saying that they're gonna win easy or they might not even win. I do think that like the matchups like play in a favor that maybe over the course, if this series goes like 6 or 7 games, the fact that I don't think the Warriors can play Zaza, and I don't think the Warriors...
I don't think Zaza's going to see any playing time.
Yeah, that's the thing.
Looney has completely taken over Zaza's
But like suddenly
role.
then the Warriors bench is much, much smaller than it was during the season, and you're counting on Klay Thompson and Curry, and obviously Durant is the big, like, he can swing it regardless, but you're counting on those guys to be effective on offense and also at least play like a big part of their game on defense against James Harden and Chris Paul. And I don't know, maybe they get tired, maybe that can also play. Maybe they have an off game, because we always talk about how like Harden and Chris Paul can have off games, which is definitely true, and that Houston offense is based on their role players hitting threes, and that can be off. But you can say the same thing about a tired Klay Thompson can have a bad game shooting, and suddenly you're counting on Durant and Curry, which obviously is a pretty good deal. But like you never know. Like one of these guys or maybe 2 of these guys can be off. Like it's happened before where both
for
Curry
an
and
series?
Thompson. No, but like one game. You only need one game in that series. I do think Houston can win 2 games just by being Houston. If they steal another game, then it goes to a game 7, and then it's it's open for anyone to take it. And it's at home for the Rockets. I don't know if that really matters that much, because home court advantage is honestly bullshit, except for like in the East in the first round, because all these series went to 7 games. But maybe it does, and maybe for like a role player, not necessarily for Curry, Durant, and Thompson, but maybe for a role player it matters that they're on the road and not at home, or stuff like that. So again, I'm not I'm still picking the Rockets, and I think it might come
In
down
what,
to like
6 or 7?
stealing a game. Yeah, they're not winning in like 5 or 4. No, that's for sure.
Yeah.
But it might come down to like them playing just okay enough to steal a game against the Warriors, and then they close it out at home or something like that. Like, I can see that happening. Is what I'm saying. Obviously,
Warriors
Miguel
gentleman
doesn't
sweep, but
because
yeah.
he thinks the Warriors are gonna
Okay,
win.
I want the Rockets to win in 4 now. I want.
You want them to?
I don't want to hear about the Rockets anymore.
All right,
Or
all
the
right. So
Warriors anymore.
has been eliminated?
let's recap just quickly. So I think I picked the Celtics in 6, and then the Rockets in 7.
I picked probably the Warriors in 6 or 7. As much as I don't want it to happen, and probably the Celtics in 6 or 7 as well.
I take Celtics in 6, Cavs in 7.
Celtics in 6, Cavs in 7. That's
If
gonna
it,
be
if
a
it makes
problem.
if it makes it to 7, I think LeBron's gonna take it over.
Okay.
If
And
it
then-
makes it to
and then
7,
you pick the
LeBron
Warriors
is gonna
in
take
what,
over.
in 5.
Hmm?
You pick
Warriors
the
in
Warriors
5.
in 5. Ooh.
Celtics in 6, Warriors in 6.
Okay, so the Cavs are going to the finals.
The
is
Cavs
what
are
we're
going to the
saying.
finals, and then the Rockets are going to win too.
That's
And,
right. Cavs
Okay, yeah.
Rockets.
Let's move on to some of those teams that are like, I don't know if they're close to making the leap, but
Lakers.
do you want to talk about the teams that were like eliminated in the?
I'm just thinking
in
of all the
the
good coaches that
conference
are
finals?
out there right now.
It's
Budenholzer,
such a mess.
Dwayne Casey.
So Budenholzer might go to Toronto.
The teams that do need coaches that were eliminated.
Chicago. Can you please replace that
Chicago
coach?
needs coach. I'm not going to argue with you there.
I saw. Okay, sorry. I'm gonna interrupt you, but I saw like something that said the Warriors were considering Hoiberg when they hired Steve Kerr at first.
Yes.
And it just makes me so sad that I got Hoiberg, and then he turns out to be just an okay coach. Like, okay. Anyways, continue. Yes.
they went to the playoffs once or twice.
Yeah, because he has
Rondo.
Jimmy Butler on his team.
I mean, Rajon Rondo.
Playoff Rondo.
Ugh. That has nothing to do with the coach. It's Jimmy Butler, and it's the East.
Rajon Rondo.
Like, you can see all the teams that did not make it. Like, the best player on the teams that did not make it in the East is Blake Griffin. And it's just because Detroit is like a trash organization. And that's just that. No, it's true.
Uh-huh.
Like, other
That
than
Game
that,
of Zones.
other than that, like, you have Giannis, you have John Wall, Brad Beal. All these players just make the playoffs because they're in the East. None of these teams make the playoffs in the West. Anyways, continue.
So, Dwayne Casey or Budenholzer to Milwaukee? Anyone thinking about that?
Budenholzer is probably going to Toronto. That was being said today.
I could see that.
I don't know about Dwayne Casey. Yeah.
Who else needs a coach? Anyone else?
So Phoenix got a coach. Did
I think
did
Gentry's
Memphis-
on the hot seat.
did
I think
Memphis
the
get a
Pelicans
coach?
are on. I think Gentry's out as much as I love him, but
Really?
that's 2 series he's had so far, and no.
I mean, you just like swept a 3rd seed and then
Yeah.
got whooped by a Warriors team
That's probably going to whoop everyone else.
Yeah.
It sounds like something that the Pelicans would do.
And also Boogie's injured, so like what was Gentry supposed to do about that?
I kind of felt like they were better off at certain points.
No, they are better off without him, but
If I'm the Pelicans and I can pick up Dwayne Casey, I'm doing it
over Gentry.
over Gentry.
Uh,
With the coaches out on the market right now, I think there's enough to make a thing.
Yeah, I guess LeBron is not in the West.
Did Van
so
Gundy get fired? I think he did, right?
I think so.
who?
Van Gundy.
Oh yeah, that too. Yeah. Well,
So
that's good
Pist-
riddance.
someone with someone
Dwayne
who can take the
Casey.
Pistons. I don't think he wants the Pistons job though. I
Bump
don't
and
think he wants
grind.
that
Nobody
team.
wants the Pistons job.
Nobody wants to work. Nobody
You
wants
have-
to work in Detroit.
You have 4 years of Blake Griffin on a max contract, and your second best player is Reggie Jackson.
Andre Drummond,
No, he's
Stanley
a good,
Johnson.
He's a good. Yeah, okay. Shannon Johnson like averaged like 3 points a game this season or something like that. And nobody wants that job.
Nobody
no,
wants
it's
that
true.
job.
So is Mark Jackson getting anytime soon?
Oh,
Does he
yeah.
want
Does he
to?
have a team that he wants to take?
Does he want to? Is he a good coach?
He's a good defensive coach.
He's a good defensive coach, for
He has
sure.
no semblance of offense.
The thing is, like, everybody's proved that like a good defensive coach is just not enough anymore.
True.
Right? Because that's Gentry is we're supposed to be a good defensive coach. Thibodeau
Gentry's
is
a good offensive coach.
He's a good
Gentry doesn't know
offensive
Oh, sorry,
defense whatsoever.
Casey, my bad.
Casey.
Okay.
And then you have Thibodeau, and then just yeah.
Brad Stevens.
Yeah.
Brad Stevens is a good coach overall.
I mean-
though.
Is
Like he has an actual system on offense. It's not just he's not just like Marcus Smart, go to work. Like that's not what he
Oh,
does.
that's what it looks like.
No, it's not.
I'm playing.
Have you watched like
I'm
they have
playing.
it's yeah.
It's very distributed. It's beautiful.
It's what I would hope. It's what I hope like Hoiberg would bring to
Too
like that
bad.
college system or whatever. And Hoiberg is just like mark it in, shoot threes, and it's just like okay, cool.
is
Someone stop me from talking about the Bulls. 'Cause
is
I'm mad.
Thibodeau,
Alright,
is he on the hot seat?
Thibodeau?
Yeah.
Yes, he should be, but he's not. Probably not going
He
to be.
not yet. I think he gets one more playoff series.
As
If he
this-
loses another, he might be on the hot
As
seat.
dysfunctional as the Wolves are, I think they give him another year.
Yeah.
Or I think because of that fact that they give him another year, I'd fire him. But he's president of basketball operations.
The
so-
problem is that you're paying Wiggins a max contract, so you don't really have any flexibility to
That's
change
true.
anything. If Wiggins doesn't become a better player, then you're just stuck with what you have.
True.
And I don't think that's really necessarily like Thibodeau's fault at that point.
No, but he needs to find a way to coach these guys to give Cat the ball more.
That is his fault. But
Yeah.
I don't know.
We'll see. I mean, are there any other teams?
none that are relevant.
Okay.
I don't know like half the coaches.
I think
in the league,
Donovan
'cause
still has a
half the
safe job.
No, he's fine.
Wilson's
No.
eliminated from playoffs.
This
Most
guy.
of the
Scotty
coaches are
Brooks?
fine.
Scotty Brooks?
He might. No, I think
He's
he
in the
Scotty
Wizards.
Brooks is a terrible coach.
he is, but he's a player's coach, developmental coach. That's what they all say. He's a great developmental coach.
Washington doesn't need a developmental coach.
No.
None of the Washington players are have been better since Scotty Brooks got
No,
there.
that's
like,
true.
They're all feuding.
That's true. But
It's-
I mean,
it's
Gortat's
so
always
dumb.
been a little weenie though, Polish weenie.
So are the Raptors, are they gonna trade DeRozan
No, I think they go with this another year.
one more?
Portland, what are they going to do?
Keep it. They have to keep it. Portland has to keep
Flip
it.
McCollum for the Rosen. Just restart everything. Just do the same thing.
The
all
Raptors
over
are a lot
again.
worse, but the Blazers are a lot better if you do that. I think.
They get
The
bigger.
Blazers are better.
I think they're better.
DeRozan can't shoot threes.
They don't.
And then
need
they
it.
have
has
they
been
start
lately.
they start yeah, but his shooting percentage was bad. Like the
against
second
the
half of
Cavs,
the
the
season.
entire
depressed.
No, no,
entire
throughout
roster
the
was
second,
scared.
like he started hot. But my
Wait.
thing about the Blazers, then you start Evan Turner at like small forward, and he also can't really shoot.
Do you have
threes.
depressed DeRozan or Dino DeRozan?
I don't know.
Like Dino DeRozan's like normal DeRozan, you know, but not depressed DeRozan.
All right, we're not gonna talk about this.
Yeah.
What if the whatchamacallits, the Trailblazers traded McCollum for Blake Griffin?
I mean, they could sign Melo.
Yeah.
They
No.
could sign Melo straight out.
That actually wouldn't be a bad thing for Portland.
Yeah.
But
Actually,
Pistons-
That,
the
yeah.
Pistons.
that was what they were saying he should have done anyway. He shouldn't have picked the Thunder,
Let's
but
just
they should have
agree
picked
that Blake
Portland.
Griffin should not be in Detroit. It's that easy, right? Like,
Yeah.
is it like Blake Griffin is gonna be that player that like some like people just don't talk about anymore just because he's on Detroit. Like nobody's gonna care.
Yeah, no one's gonna care.
He's gonna be the best player that we
He's
don't
gonna
talk
take
about.
that 6th seed in the East.
Like Kemba was like, oh shit, like I'm not the best player that people don't talk about anymore because it's Blake Griffin.
What they
don't know.
really care about.
I don't know what they do. I feel like it's like for the next 3 years it's gonna be whatever like the three best
Celtics,
teams in
Warriors.
the West are, and then like the Celtics, and then a LeBron-led team. That's the entire problem. I feel like with talking about this right now is that like depending on what LeBron does, he literally can change everything.
Oh, so LeBron on the Sixers?
LeBron the Sixers, LeBron
Houston.
on Houston, or he can stay with the Cavs, or he can go to LA. Like who the fuck knows?
I'd actually be scared of Houston if they had LeBron.
Oh well, yeah, they're like, yeah, obviously.
Is that even possible?
Yeah,
Yeah, they have to get rid of everyone
they'd have
except
to
for the two.
gut the team, but at the same
It's
time,
possible.
Yeah,
I think
Chris
LeBron
Paul,
also has to
James
take a
Harden,
small
and
pay cut
LeBron.
too. Yeah.
I mean,
Not LA, please, not LA.
if he
Go to
goes
the Clippers for all I
if he
care.
goes to the Clippers.
Goes to the
Ah,
Clippers.
The Clippers are actually I don't mind their team.
Speaking
They're
of,
they're like fun and stuff.
is Rivers on the hot seat,
He should be.
or is he leaving?
The coaches should not be a GM. That's the thing we've learned, right? Like all three of those, like Van Gundy, Thibodeau, and Rivers, just are like not good right now.
Yeah.
And I'm
100%.
not saying like they're bad coaches or they're bad GMs or they're just bad when they're doing both things.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, I feel like you just can't do both. That's just not possible. You can't coach guys and then get rid of them like 2 days later. You have to have no. It's true. Like you have to have some distance, and those guys don't have it.
And
regardless of
on the
how
team.
many like. I think Rivers is gone either after like maybe next season, just because they brought in Jerry West, right? And Jerry West is probably like, yeah, why is this guy still around? I don't know. That's how I would feel like. I'd be like, yeah.
Doc or Austin?
Both.
Austin's good.
I loved Austin in college,
Uh-huh.
and then just.
No, he's a solid guard.
He's a solid
He's a solid
backup. Bench like guard, but he's also being paid like 11 millions a year.
He's worth $11 million.
It's not worth an all
I'm
million.
not sure.
He's worth $11 million.
My issue with that is that there's so many like every year there's so many like reliable like point guards coming in like the second round of the draft that you have to pay like $1 million a year for 4 years.
True.
Like, you know, like Shane Larkin, Yogi Ferrell, like all these guys are just like, you're like, oh, they're decent players.
The
like,
entire Dallas roster.
why would you pay 10? Well, yeah. Why would you pay like 10 million more dollars to get the same kind of player?
Fair enough.
That's the thing about him. But it's not his fault that he got that contract. I'm just saying.
It's his daddy's fault.
Yeah, that is
100%.
that is nepotism at his best. I mean, he probably deserved it. Probably like another team would have probably given him that contract. That's, I think.
Who's
or like
coaching
something similar.
the Knicks?
Oh,
Is it Woodson?
oh God, is it?
Did they sign someone or?
I'm not sure actually. Hold on.
Knicks are a team. Maybe they have some. That's
Wait.
a coach that might need some.
Woodson, as in like
Yes.
Mike
Woodson.
Woodson?
I think it was Mike Woodson. We were talking about last or 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, he was being
Mike Wilson.
considered. I don't know if he. Oh, they hired David Fizdale.
Oh, they hired Fizdale?
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah, I forgot
yeah,
about that.
Fizz.
So he might turn things around, I guess.
I don't even know the coach of Charlotte. Who's
Clifford?
Clifford?
Oh, he got
yes.
fired, right?
Did he get fired?
Oh man,
That makes sense.
All these. Oh, I just looked up Bobcats. Hold on,
Hornets.
Hornets. Man, good times.
Who the fuck?
James Borrego. 4-year deal with new coach. I love how this was like 22 hours ago and nobody's been talking about it.
Who
'Cause
is
nobody
this
knows
person?
what
Wait, Mitch
guys-
Kupchak's their GM, right?
Sure, yeah.
Mitch is their GM.
Oh wait, I did hear.
Oh yeah, that's true.
Mitch
yeah,
is
yeah,
their
yeah.
GM.
Well, that's a step down.
Wait, for which team? Like,
The Hornets.
Wait, so Mitch and Dwight got reunited?
Oh God.
Mitch,
Dwight should get out of the league.
Mitch, Dwight, and MJ.
Dwight, retire while you still can. So just a little bit about like the. I mean, I guess that's my segment, so I'm gonna put it in there. But draft lottery is on Tuesday.
Stay tuned.
The Warriors are picking 29, so they don't care. The Lakers don't have their pick, so they don't care. So
Who's selling us the 38th pick?
Hmm?
Who is selling us the 38th pick?
Brooklyn.
Brooklyn this time? Okay.
No, I'm just kidding.
The 30th? Isn't that
38th
Houston?
pick.
Wouldn't Houston have the
we've gotten
30th
it-
pick?
The 38th?
Oh, 38th. Okay, never mind.
Who's
yeah.
selling it to us?
Oh, yeah. Well,
is that what you always get?
Yeah,
Basically.
the past few years we bought that pick.
Has it worked out well for you?
so
Patrick McCaw and Jordan Bell.
Fair.
that's decent value for a second round.
Yeah.
So the Bulls are picking. I mean, the lottery is still looking, but they have like the 7th best odds, I think, which means they're probably not making it to the top 3. So Phoenix has the best odds, and they're probably gonna,
Who was
They
the
get-
Lakers pick?
the Sixers.
The Sixers have the Lakers pick? I'm
Yes.
sorry.
So it was supposed to actually it might still be the Lakers. It might still be the Celtics. Yeah. So if it lands between 2 and 5, it becomes a Celtics pick. And if it's
I thought
number...
I thought it was the other way around.
No.
Okay.
Yeah, and if it's number 1 or like 6 through whatever, it's the Sixers.
Oh, well then it's probably the Sixers pick.
So as of
then.
right now,
Yeah.
it's like projected to be the Sixers.
Yeah.
Because they have like the 10th odds or something like that.
Yeah.
In before it becomes 2 and Celtics get a second round or
might.
number 2 pick on this draft.
Yeah.
That's when I burned the Celtics organization to the ground.
And they have the Kings first round pick next year. The Celtics
Oh my
are just
God.
like, they just gamed the system for like 10 straight years. They got like a
God.
title out of it, and then
By game the system, do you mean gamed the Nets?
yeah, but just even that, well, yeah, but then the Nets, and then they made that trade with the Sixers to get the Kings pick next year.
Mm-hmm.
And that's like to get Jason Tatum, who's arguably like, I mean, the second best rookie of this class for sure, but maybe like even plays like the best for this, like these playoffs. I guess Donovan Mitchell's still number 1, but you know he's close. He's up there. What was I saying?
Yeah, without Donovan Mitchell, Tatum would be the number 1 first year in the league.
Yeah. So it's
I
just,
can't say rookie because technically Simmons is a rookie.
God. So it's just going to be really interesting because this draft is like loaded in big men. There's like 6 big men predicted to go into top 10. And when I say big men, it's like 7 feet tall guys.
Yeah.
More center forwards for your Bulls. You must be ecstatic about this.
I mean,
Hey,
No.
maybe you can get Doncic.
as long as I can get rid of Holiday, just take him off the fucking squad. Well, so that's the thing. Like, Doncic is probably going like 1, 2, or 3. So I don't think the Bulls have any chance
Didn't
of getting him.
the Suns sign a coach?
Yeah. So
That was, like,
that's like the storyline. Is if they get the first pick, they're probably taking Doncic because they signed a coach that like
if
worked with
Doncic's
him.
available, he's going to sign him, or they're going to draft him 100%.
Yeah. So then the top 3 players are probably Doncic, DeAndre Ayton, and Jaren Jackson Jr. In most
Bagley?
like mock draft, Bagley is not that good in defense.
Okay.
So a lot of players were like, "Oh yeah, like he'd be great on the Bulls," and then you realize, and me first, I was like, "Oh yeah, like I would love to have him on the Bulls," and then you realize that Markkanen can't defend for shit, and you're like, "Yeah, maybe we need like not that guy." But so
Maybe
it's
Hoiberg can teach him to defend.
oh god, no. So it is going to be interesting just because some of these teams, you have like the idea of having Trae Young selected in that top 10, and then you have a couple like 3-and-D players. That's basically your top 10. Your top 10 is a point guard, 6 centers, a couple of 3-and-D players, and the power forward. That might be a small forward in the NBA. And that's your top 10. And that's a lot of like big guys, like a lot of big men, which is like very in contrast with last year where you had like 5 point guards in the top 15 or something like that. Mm-hmm. And so I do think that's going to be really interesting because you're going to have a lot of like older centers that already have issues, like trouble finding a spot in the league because, you know, their skill set is outdated basically. But then on top of that,
signed with the Sydney Kings.
yeah,
So,
exactly.
yeah.
But and then on top of that, you're gonna have like a bunch of like kind of like new wave big men that are gonna come into the league that are like 6'11", 7 feet, that can move, that can defend like multiple positions, and you're just like, yeah, that's where the league is going, and there's just no spot anymore for players like
Greg Monroe.
Dwight Howard, Greg Monroe, Andre Drummond, and those guys are just like, yeah, they
I can see
Drummond
Drummond will
yeah,
still.
that front line of Drummond and Blake Griffin.
Dwight Howard,
is,
I'm not so sure. Drummond, yes. He'll still have a job wherever.
No, he'll have a job, but it's like how effective can he be? Especially if they play him with Blake Griffin. That's just a horrible like combination. But so that's definitely going to be
seen
interesting.
this system before?
I mean, yeah.
Blake Griffin and a large center who can't shoot free throws.
But even like a power forward and a big like center, that was good in the 80s.
Twin Towers, baby.
Twin Towers.
Marcus Gasol.
How Bynum. Those were days.
That was 2010.
I know.
No, it's gonna be interesting to see that how the lottery shakes up. I don't know, or maybe next week we'll be crying like drama and shit because I don't know what team would have leapfrogged into the top. If Cleveland gets a top spot via the Nets pick, I'm gonna flip a shit. That is not happening. If they get the top pick, like,
who would they pick though?
It doesn't matter. I don't care who they pick, but if they get like that'd be like the 4th number 1 pick in the last like 7 years for them.
Oh yeah, they had like 2 straight.
They had 2 straight, and then like they had a 3, which they used on Dion Waiters, which great pick by the way. And then they had like the one of the
Anthony
year
Bennett?
LeBron came back.
Anthony Bennett.
Wiggins. Yeah, so
Wiggins
they
and
went
Bennett?
they went Kyrie, Bennett, Waiters, and Wiggins. And none of these players are on the team anymore. Just saying. That was 7 years ago. That is nothing. That is like the length of like a contract and a half. Just just by the way. But okay, good job. I think that's it. I think we're gonna close it.
Wait, I have one last question.
Yeah, go ahead.
If LeBron were put on this Bulls team, do they make it to the Eastern Conference Finals?
Yes.
Do they win it?
They don't win it.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
Uh-huh.
The East is trash, man. Any team that has LeBron is just gonna make it at least to the conference finals.
Would you want to see this?
No. LeBron was supposed to get to the Bulls in 2010, back when I still liked him as a player.
Oh no, what have we done?
Then
No,
he didn't come
I'm
to
so
the
sorry.
Bulls. No, it's really funny because I remember that summer everybody was like, oh my god, they have Derrick Rose, and then like Dwayne Wade, like the kid of Chicago, right, was also
Yeah.
supposed to go home.
And he did.
And then
he
it was
came
like,
home,
oh,
like,
maybe
6 years later.
Yeah, and then everybody was like, oh well, like maybe LeBron is gonna come too, and then suddenly they both end up in Miami and beat the Bulls like every season since, basically. And I'm just like, okay, cool, that's fine, that's totally fine.
I love I can just trigger Marcus with like
It's
into
not really,
telling that story.
It's not really triggering. It's just like,
Triggering.
yeah. No, I'm actually really frustrated that they signed Dwayne Wade like 6 years later. That is a very frustrating part of being like a Bulls fan. It's like, who thought that giving $22 million to a 34-year-old Dwayne Wade was a good idea?
Hoiberg?
Yeah, Garpax. There you go. No, yeah. So that's it. At least now they're like in full rebuild mode. Just get rid of everyone that's above 24 years old. I don't care. Just Holiday has to go this summer. Just get rid of him.
I'll take him back.
Wait,
Yeah. Just
how old is he?
I don't know. He's like 27 or something.
Okay.
Oh, I guessed myself.
Maybe
yeah.
maybe next year he'll shoot like 25% from 3 and they'll finally get rid of him.
Huh.
I just don't like him. Someone stop
He's
me.
a 3-and-D player.
I don't care.
As long as he's not your entire offense, which he apparently is.
Well, it's either him or Denzel Valentine, so just
I'll take Valentine too. I like the kid.
just get rid of all of them. Just keep Markkinen and Levine. That's all I need. Even Chris Dunn can leave. He's whatever.
No, Leopard Dunn? He's been playing super well for you guys.
He's like 25 years old, and he's
Is he
like
25 already?
He's like 24, I think, and he's like a barely above average like point guard.
What have I done?
Yeah,
What have I
right.
done?
All
See,
right.
that's what happens when my
Okay.
team doesn't make the
No more Bulls
playoffs.
talk. No more Bulls talk.
So Lakers stuff.
Hell
No,
yeah.
we're done with the Lakers.
No, we're
too.
done. We're done. We'll
I
be
love
back.
Luke.
We'll be back next week.
I love
Yes, we'll
LA.
be
We'll
back
be back
next
next
week.
week.
Thanks for listening.
Have a good
See
one.
ya.